And we'll check all that, of course, out in the FMC here in just a couple of minutes and get our positions set up. All right, we're ready to go ahead and input our GPS there. So let me see. Let me bring up the correct camera here. All right, we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and change that over for you. All right, we're going to set our position reference. So let's get that in there. And we look outside just real quick while we're at it. The weather in Denver is frightful. There is a low IFR clearance for takeoff tonight. So we'll be doing that as we get started. Of course, our reference airport here is Denver, KDEN. So we'll get that set in the FMC. Our route tonight is going to be, of course, Denver to KJAC. All right, that's set. And then, of course, we're going to put in KDEN, and we're going to do the company route tonight because we're a little behind. So we'll get going with that. And we'll put that in there, and we'll put in our flight number. We're going to be United Airlines tonight. I thought I'd fly United in honor of a couple of people who have been very supportive of everything that I've been doing. So today's date is, of course, 10/26, so we'll be UAL 10/26. Let me get that typed in correctly. And we've done a couple of new things with the audio here tonight, too, so I hope the audio is much better for you. You can maybe let me know that in the chat box there. And we'll get our all right, now we've got to bring up our flight plan. So let's get that set in here, and I'm going to fetch the flight plan for this evening. Okay, Denver to Jackson, Wyoming. Our flight level is going to be 38,000 feet. So let's go to our flight plan here. And our flight plan is calling for 14, we'll call that 14.1 kilopounds, 1,000 pounds of fuel. So we'll put that in here as 14.1. Our fuel reserves are going to be 2.1. So what we're going to need to do as well is we're going to need to load the fuel and start getting the passengers put in. So we'll go back over to our other FMC, and we're going to need 16,200 pounds of fuel. So let's get that started running here. And we're going to request the fuel truck. Okay, wait a minute. We'll go ahead and put that back. Okay, there we go. Let's request our fuel truck now. All right, we'll go outside the aircraft and watch for the fuel truck to get here. Should be here just in a minute. There he comes. We can probably go ahead and start loading the passengers, but I'm going to wait until the fuel truck is done. Let's go ahead and program some of our FMC values here tonight. All right, if we pull up our flight plan, once again, we're going to see that our zero fuel weight, we're going to have a full flight tonight, 148 passengers. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a max zero fuel weight of 120, or zero fuel weight, yeah, of 121. And .7. Okay, zero fuel weight is there. Our reserves was 2.1. So let's go ahead and enter that in. Our cost index tonight is 5. It's going to be about an hour flight up to Jackson. And our flight level cruise altitude will be 38,000 feet. So we'll set that in. Our cruise wind at top of climb will be from 237 at 076 knots. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in. 237 at 076. Put that in there. We'll go ahead and hit execute. We'll set our N1 limit. We're going to put 32 in, as we normally do. We're going to go and check our takeoff. Our takeoff is going to be fine. But before we check our center of gravity and trim, we're going to need to make sure that everything else is loaded. So we're going to go ahead and start loading fuel, and just to kind of expedite, we'll go ahead and get our passengers. We're going to have a full load of passengers tonight, 148. So let's start them boarding. They'll be coming in over the jetway, of course. And let's see, next we need to get our baggage weight. Okay, our baggage weight is going to be here. So our cargo is 7.4, 7,400 pounds. So that will be 3,550 either side. And we'll go ahead and request our baggage loaders. However, they will not get here until we are done fueling. And we're about a little more than halfway fueled there. Hope you guys have had a really good week. Appreciate you checking us out again tonight. I'm trying some different things. I'm not super happy with the way this blacks out everything in the back there. If we bring the cockpit view up, that looks kind of cool. It's still not exactly like I would like for it to be, but we'll get there eventually. All right, so we're at 10,000 pounds of fuel. Let's go ahead and bring this back to where you can see it. We're going to watch that fuel come in. And we can see that we have a baggage cart getting ready to pull up. Kind of dark here in Denver tonight, of course. And one thing that I did want to do, and I tried to get this set up ahead of time, is I want to go ahead and make it light. We're going to go ahead and make it daylight so that we can kind of see what we're doing. Let's see, it's 6:47 Mountain Time, so let's make this right around 3:47, just to where we're kind of close in time. Wanted to make this flight a daytime flight today. We'll go ahead and leave it at 3:51 right there, and that'll put us close enough. We'll adjust our clocks and everything, and look that way. We're going to have a daylight flight so you can kind of see the mountains. We should be able to see the mountains as we come into KJAC, and they're pretty spectacular up there. I did a flight last night, kind of as a rehearsal for this, where it was really socked in at Jackson, and I had to go in really on instruments, and it was really quite fun. But I think the weather's better up there today than it is here in Denver. While we're waiting to get our takeoff reference, let's go ahead and program in our traveling flight plan here. So we'll look at that, and okay, let's look at our flight plan. So we're going to be taking off on runway 08. Our SID, Standard Instrument Departure, is going to be DDRTH1, and there will be no transition, even though the flight plan lists a transition, but that actually is a waypoint, so we are all right there. And we'll hit execute. We'll go back to our arrival. We're going to be landing the ILS-Z on runway 19 at KJAC, and that is a direct there. Let's check our legs, and there's a route discontinuity. We'll go ahead and change that. Yeah, it's a pretty mountainous approach into KJAC, so it should be very interesting. All right, we'll leave that there. Let's go back and check our fuel progress here. We're almost fueled up. Our passengers are boarding. We've got 61 of 148 people on board. And let's go. Oh, yeah, that's right. We need to put 3550. And we can start loading the aft baggage, but we're going to have to wait. Once again, the fuel truck is still there. And the fuel truck should be done here just momentarily. So we'll stand by for that. Let's see. Don says you may need to green screen like weather people use for a background. You know, Don, I have a green screen, a sheet to use for that. And I am going to be experimenting some with that when I have time. Just have not had time yet to do that. Let's see. All right, you know, we got started late. I think we maybe had lost a couple of viewers there, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and run through this. Would like to have those of you who may be watching but haven't said hello yet to say hello there in the chat window, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button for me and subscribe if you haven't. All right. I really don't know what happened with my software in the beginning. I could not get the engines. I could not get the software to start without the engines rolling up. It was just the weirdest doggone thing. No matter what I did, I could not get the engines to shut off. All right, we're still waiting on the fuel, so it's probably time to release him. Yes, we can release the fuel truck. He's finished loading the fuel. Take a look at our B gates here. All right, let's go back and check another couple of things on the checklist while we're waiting to get set up for that. All right, back up to engine hydraulic pumps. We're going to turn those on. We're going to go ahead and get the window heat and the pitot heat going because it's starting to get colder, and we'll definitely need those. Our yaw damper we're going to take to the on position. Okay, our left fuel pump will turn on here shortly as soon as the fuel truck drives away, and it looks like it's gone, so we can come back down here now. Passengers are boarding, 105 passengers of 148. That's good. We're waiting for our forward cart to arrive, and here he comes. Had to wait till the fuel was loaded. And we're going to wait till we get a green load light on there. And while we're waiting for that, we'll go on with the checklist. All right, let's go back up to our overhead. And for the moment, we can get rid of the SimBrief panel. We'll put that away. Okay, let's see. Yep, we've done all we can do actually up until that point. However, we can come back down here. We can get our altimeter setting of 3001. That's good. That's what it is here in Denver at the moment. Okay, we can turn our engine bleeds on. Still wait, okay, still, okay, now we can start getting that luggage on board. Let's check our passenger loading at the moment, 131 out of 148. All right, that looks good. All right, with that and the fuel truck being gone, we're going to go ahead and power on our APUs. So let's get our APU going here. And we'll let that start up. Put our APU bleed on, which I can do with the switch here. Let's go ahead and get our beacon nav and strobe lights on. They are on now at this time. Yep, I see the airplane lit up there. That's good. And we're waiting for the APU to completely power up. Okay, our altimeter is set. Our transponder, because we're not using live ATC at this time, we've set the transponder to 1200, which is normal for a flight like this. And yeah, because we're a little behind, I try to get the fuel and everything loaded before I start the stream, but tonight, because the software was giving me an issue, but we'll take care of that, and we'll also edit out all the beginning stuff there for the replay. Let's check our flight path on the PFD, on the MFD rather, and the map looks good. One other thing we can go ahead and do here while we're waiting is we'll go ahead and set our course for the runway that we'll be taking off of. And let me double check what that is here on my iPad. Will, hi, buddy. Hey, man, William's here. I appreciate you checking in, William. Hope you're having a great night, and hope you get to stick around for a few minutes. Thanks so much for checking out into the stream here. And let me see. All right, I need to bring up this and that. Okay. Get some more of my flight information here and airport information that we're going to need. I have an iPad here that I display some software called flightplan.go, and that helps me to be able to see some of the information that we need on the runway 08 that we're going to be taking off of. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. You know, the nice thing is I can actually do that here, and I can show you guys as well. So we are at B gates, as you can see right here. Go ahead and make that a little bit better. We're at B46, so we will taxi out via Bravo Sugar, and we're going to turn left on taxiway Mike M, and we're going to go up to runway 08. So that brings all of that into play for us. Go ahead and pull that back over here where it goes. I actually have a flight instrumentation screen and display right here in front of me that essentially shows everything that you see right here on the main screen. Hey, guys, if you wouldn't mind, one other thing I'd like for you to do is let me know the quality of the screen. Can you read everything on the flight deck here? Can you see all of that well? I'd appreciate a comment or two on that, if you can see that. Okay, 083 is our course that we're going to set on both the captain and the FO side of the aircraft. Our cruising altitude is going to be 38,000 feet, so we'll set 3800 in here. Okay, altitude is set to 38,000 feet. Once again, we need to bring the heading to the runway heading. We could do this a little bit later, but while we're waiting on this stuff to load, I think our passengers are loaded. Yep, that looks good. Passengers are on board. All right, we'll get ready to shut that door in just a minute. And it looks like that we're all set as far as the baggage handling goes. All right, let's detach and release those. And we're also going to release the jetway, and we'll take a look outside the aircraft at that. And I will go ahead and have the stewardess, the flight attendant. Yeah, I'd probably get yelled at for that, wouldn't I? We'll go ahead and shut that door. All right, the door is closing. We can also check that, of course, up here on our panel. All right, the door is shut and sealed. That looks good. All right, the aircraft is almost ready for pushback. We're going to go through a couple of more of our checklist items here. Let's just go back and make sure this is all good. And the APU is started, so let's go to APU gens. Okay, APU gens are on, APU bleed is on. And the APU gen is showing the correct voltage. All right, that's good. Let's go ahead and turn on our fuel pumps for engine start here in just a moment. I'm going to go back to my checklist here. Okay, altimeter is set, transponder is set, fueling, loading, boarding is complete. Takeoff data we have put into the MCP cruise altitude and the pressure panel. Let's check the pressure panel up here. That, of course, will start to pressurize once we engage the LPACs. We'll do that after we start the engines. The MCP is set with the 2 courses. Actually, there's one more thing, and that's why we do the checklist. Let's go ahead and go back to our menu. Let's go to the FMC. Okay, all of that is set correctly. Take a look at our references. Okay, our takeoffs. Let's set our CG, which we know at this point is 18.8 because everything is loaded. And we need a trim of 654. We're actually right there for our takeoff trim. That looks good in the stab trim. All right, we can set our V speeds. 132 is our V1. Rotate at 134, and our V2 is 136. So we'll set our speed for 136 plus 15, which is going to be 151. And we're set there, and we're going to turn the flight directors on at this time per the checklist. All right, we are ready for pushback and engine start. So we're going to bring up our menu for that, and we're going to get our pushback, and we're going to have him just push us straight out. That looks good. Okay, we can select our tug, and they are removing the chocks, and we're going to go ahead and hit start, and we're going to turn up some of the sounds here to where you can hear what's going on.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Release the brakes, please.
Okay, we'll release the brakes here. Brakes are released.
Brakes released.
All right, and pushback is started. Okay, the panel is set. Let's go ahead and start our engines. Okay, everything is set. Okay, guys, we're not getting an engine start. See if I can start them individually here. Okay, there we go. Did we? Is it going to start? Well, once again, like I said earlier this evening, I was having some trouble with the software, and we still seem to be having some trouble with the software. Okay, let's switch back. Everything. Okay, here we go. We need the isolation valve open. Okay, parking brake is set. That is what I missed. I missed that item on the checklist. So now we should be able to get an engine start. Hey, how about that? She's starting. All right, very good.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, we'll get the engine started now. That was pilot error, guys. That was pilot error. All right, let's introduce fuel. As you can see, we're watching this panel right here. All right, and we've got good engine start. All right, let's start number 2. Start number 2. All right, number 2 is started, and when we get up to 25% in 1, we'll introduce fuel. And that is done with the fuel lever right here. Okay, there's 24 and 25. All right, we introduce fuel. And number 1 is coming up. Okay, very good. And we'll let those engines come up and get stabilized. And when it stabilizes, we'll be able to start the engine gen. All right, there's our switch. Our generators are ready. Switch those over. We'll check Gen 1 up on the electrical panel and Gen 2. That looks good, and so we can go ahead and start our packs. And the isolation valve goes to auto. And we can see our ducting pressure is starting to come up. Our altitude pressure is looking good. That's on auto. Okay, so once again, we're going to be taxiing to runway 08. Okay, and our taxi checklist is complete. Let's go ahead and bring our flaps to takeoff position. Okay, the other thing we're going to do is bring these sounds down just a little bit. We're going to check our flight controls and make sure they are free and clear. So I do that by taking hold of the yoke, and the elevator goes up and down. And the ailerons go right and left. All right, everything is free and clear there. All right, we are ready for taxi, so back up on the flight deck. And we're going to kill the parking brake. Okay, parking brake is off. Taxi lights are on. Okay, and we'll begin our taxi to runway 08. Don't really need the sim brief panel up there right now. I want to thank you guys for your patience. And we'll go ahead and get a quick taxi over to runway 08. I think one more thing that I'll do here is we'll go ahead and bring in some more traffic and see if we get any more traffic into the sim. Yeah, I'm kind of hauling hiney here. All right, we're going to go up to taxiway M. And we're going to make a left turn here onto M. Looks like we have another aircraft out there already out at runway 08, getting ready for a takeoff. Maybe. All right, very good. We'll do some of our taxi checklist here while we're at it. We can go ahead and arm the LNAV and VNAV. We're going to turn our TCAS on. Traffic collision avoidance system. Yeah, Graham, it is. Denver International is the third busiest airport out here in the country, and it is extremely large. Yeah, it's a long way to get out to runway 08 here. It really is. Okay, as we continue on, taxi lights, of course, runway turnoffs, we're not worried about that. Taxi checklist is complete. Go ahead and give us just a little more boost. We're taxiing along at about 15 miles per hour, which is fairly normal. Usually aircraft taxi at 10 to 15. Okay, I'm going to pull up my little nav map software that will help me over on this right hand screen that I have here in the flight sim. As we taxi along. Looks like maybe, is that an Alaska airline? No, I don't think so. Sitting out there to the right of the taxiway. And it looks like there's another aircraft doing something funny out there to the right. Let's take a look outside the aircraft. Yeah, I'm not sure what that aircraft livery is. I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, we got that jet about to take off here. That'll be good. By the time he gets off and airborne, we will be able to be up on runway 08. Looks like our overcast here in Denver has lifted just a little bit there, maybe. All right, we'll stop here. All right, let's do our pre-flight checklist here, I should say, on the flight deck. We'll go ahead and set that. All right, LNAV and VNAV are set. Engine instruments and flight controls are set. And auto throttle is armed. All right, we are ready now to set our RTO. We're going to set the anti-skid on the brakes there. We set our progress page on the right-hand side FMC. RTO is set. Taxi lights, landing lights are on. Fuel flow will reset that rate. All right, and that's where it should be. V speeds, we're going to check those one more time. So let's go back to our FMC. And we're going to verify the V speeds. So 132, it's actually going to go up by about a mile an hour. So we'll also change that on the setting. All right, we are giving ourselves the clear for takeoff. Parking brakes released. We're going to roll out to the runway. Hey, Scott, glad you're here. I was having all kinds of trouble with the PMDG software. It kept wanting to load with the engines running and wouldn't let me fuel it up and wouldn't let me do anything. I had to do some creative finagling there with the FMC to finally get it to be in a state where the engines were off. I've never had that happen with the PMDG 737 before. All right, we're going to roll on the runway, and we're going to bring our engines up to 50%. Engines up to 50%. So let them stabilize, and toga. Slight forward pressure on the yoke.
Airspeed's alive.
All right, here we go.
80 knots.
Check. Coming up on V1.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate. And there's that other aircraft for some reason in the simulator. Positive rate, we'll go ahead and go gear up. Climbing at about 18 degrees. Go ahead and bug our speed up. And we're going to make a left turn. Following the flight plan. Let you look out the window here. It's going to get real murky real fast. Okay, back up on the flight deck, and we'll go ahead and bring flaps 1. And we'll keep flying here. Yeah, Scott, our flight was delayed getting out of Denver. Got a par for the real Corsair, right? Okay, we're coming through 8,000 feet, and all right, we can retract flaps totally. All right, she's flying pretty good, but as you can see, it is just murky outside. LIFR conditions at Denver International, low IFR conditions tonight, which is true. If you look at METAR TAF, it'll show you that. Okay, we're just about to hit 10,000 feet when I will engage the autopilot. Okay, we need to gain a little more altitude there. And as you can see, we're coming up into the blue sky. I got a feeling it's going to be kind of a boring flight there. Okay, let's engage the autopilot. Autopilot is engaged. Let's turn off our auto brakes there and look at the aircraft outside. Hey, there's some land there. Hey, Levi's here. Hey, Levi. Glad you're here, buddy. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you checking in. Yeah, isn't that nice paintwork, Graham? Beautiful aircraft. United, you know, I love their liveries. I really do. One night, we'll actually fly the United Star Wars aircraft, which actually is no longer with us. They retired that livery, and I think they turned it into something else. But they had a United aircraft that was actually flying the Star Wars livery, and it was just fantastic. All right, here we go, making our turn to the northwest, where our next waypoint is going to be what I call chicken. Let me show you this on the MFD there. Yeah, we're going to hit chicken here at above 4,000 feet. That's what the A after 14,000 means. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, Scott says out of the muck. For sure. I was really hoping that we'll have some muck up around Jackson. You know, Scott and I were talking on the ham radio earlier today, the ham radio repeaters, and we were talking about how much fun it is to land IFR, or instrument flight rules. We'll see what it looks like when we get up to Jackson. Microsoft Flight Simulator does such a beautiful job at making the clouds look doggone real. I do have the setting turned down just a little bit on the clouds. As long as I think it looks like clouds, I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I'm glad you guys hung with me there through the technical difficulties we were having in the beginning. I'm going to try to do some research and see why the PMDG 737 has some problems with the engines like that. All right, we passed through 18,000 feet. We'll go ahead and hit our standard barometer here, which, of course, above 18,000 feet is always 2,992. And it'd really be nice if I remember to start the clock before I leave the runway, but we've started the clock there. All right, let's take a look at some of our figures here for when we think stuff is going to happen. Okay, so we'll hit our top of climb at 2237. So that's about 11 minutes from now. We'll hit top of climb. And we should be into Jackson in about an hour. Yeah, Scott says hopefully cold, murky, and snowy in KJAC. Let me see what the METAR says for KJAC. That would be nice. All right, our weather for KJAC says winds 11 knots at 250, Scott. 9 statute miles visibility, few clouds at 240, scattered at 31. And it's going to be about 27, 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Altimeter up there right now is 3009. So I don't know if it's going to be quite that murky up there. Going to pull one other thing up here on the other computer. I can't let you guys see this just from the standpoint I can't get that. Oh, they're telling us it's VFR, no warnings. VFR, no warnings, Scott. So I guess we're not going to get the murky landing that we might like to have had. That would have been cool, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Okay, I'm not sure in my world who Pop Wee Wee? I'm not sure who that. That's so funny. There in the chat stream, you guys can see that. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome. I'm glad to have you. Glad you're here. You might want to, if you have my phone number, you might want to text me and let me know who that is, because I am not sure. I probably should know, but I don't. People use so many funny names and things on the internet that I'm not sure who that would be. Well, anyway, I hope we can just enjoy a smooth, nice flight as we travel on to Jackson. Looks like the sky's out over, Scott, that's an interesting idea. Can't control the real world weather, but we could maybe make it yucky just for fun to land in Jackson. Although I kind of want people to see how gorgeous the Tetons are. So, maybe we'll do that sometime. All right, we're coming through 27,500 feet. We're still just a few minutes away from top of climb. Okay, there's our top of climb. Yeah, I know, Scott. I got it. Hint, hint. But I want you to see how pretty the Tetons are, too. You know what? We'll do a nasty weather landing sometime. I know Don wanted to see the Tetons, though, so that was part of the reason we're flying to Jackson. I think next week we'll fly to a major airport. We'll probably do something like maybe LAX to San Francisco or something along those lines, and make the weather make the weather interesting. Yeah, that's the thing about flying. When you get up to cruise altitude, you kind of want to watch a movie or something. If you guys want to ask any questions there in the chat window, I'd be glad to try to answer them for you. Otherwise, you're going to have to sit here and listen to me for the next hour as we cruise on to Jackson. What do you guys think about my 737 background here? Once again, I'm going to keep working on that and try to keep making some adjustments and make it look really good. I did add a new audio processor into the Streamline. It's actually a Telos Omnia 1. Kind of a really fancy, older, kind of outdated, but fancy older broadcast audio transmitter, or audio processor, I should say, that they used to use to feed radio station transmitters. The one thing that I do like here is we're climbing at 290 knots. That's pretty good. And we're through 30,700 feet. One of the other things that I'm learning to try to do is to fly a Embraer 190 aircraft, an Embraer 190 that you see on, well, not some of the smaller airlines, but for some more of the regional transportation that the airlines do. And I've done a couple of flights with that. Oh, we're making our left-hand turn to our star, which is DDRTH, that you can see there in the MFD window. And there we go. And you can see where the top of climb is coming up less than 40 miles away. And we should be there at about 22:37 as we see on the clock here. So another 5 minutes or so out from the top of climb. Let's see, what was, oh, the Embraer 190. I really like that aircraft. Scott, you'll like this too. Those of you who maybe do some flight simulating, it's a really inexpensive aircraft that you can buy the software for. I think it's only like $13 is what I paid for it. But it's a good starter for the Embraer series, and eventually I want to start flying the Airbus. I will get around to flying the Airbus eventually. But I kind of wanted to start off on something just a little bit smaller because its systems are similar in some ways to the Airbus. Scott, what do you think about that? Do you think the Embraers are somewhat similar to the Airbus They kind of seem like it to me in my limited amount of knowledge, but you might say there in the chat, what do you think? What are you guys doing tonight? Graham, what are you doing way up there? You know, it's what, middle of night for you up there in Scotland. You're in Scotland, right, Graham, I think? And I don't see Jay in here tonight. But hey, I've got a couple of my sons in here that I'm very proud of, and I appreciate you guys checking in with your dad in the flight simulator. By the way, the runway that we're going to be landing on, runway 19er, is a 6,400 foot runway. So to try to be able to get off it in front of the terminal, we'll definitely be using brakes 3. And Graham says it's 2:30 in the morning and wet. Yeah, you know, I bet it is up there. I bet it is. As you can see, Denver in the real world is clouded in, although it's actually getting dark outside, so we wouldn't be able to see too much. Let's take a look outside the aircraft here. All right, we're just a little bit southeast actually of Laramie, Wyoming. That would be to the west of Cheyenne, of course. Yeah, Cheyenne right now is off over the right wing. Man, that's just a beautiful livery rendition on this aircraft. Look at the way it reflects off the wings. Man, I love what they do with this. Okay, Scott says, yeah, Don, Embraer aircraft are made in Brazil. They sure are. You're absolutely right about that. And Scott, yeah, Scott said he was a CRJ pilot. Yeah, that's right. You know, Scott, I think in your honor, I may have to learn how to fly a CRJ, and then I can get you, you know, to give me some tips and that sort of thing. That would be really cool. Graham says great views there in the chat. Yeah, I like to get outside the aircraft and look around. And guys, this is what, you know, southern Wyoming, northern Colorado look like. I mean, they just do an amazing job. And we can see some snow up on the Elk Mountain Range up in front of us there. And you know what? That is true to life. I tell you, it really is. We were up there last Friday. And there was a little bit of snow starting to form on the upper mountains here of the Elk Mountain Range. All right, we're almost to our cruise altitude of 38,000 feet, and we're going to hit that right on time at 37 after the hour. That's about 4 minutes off of real time. It's 7:33 p.m. here in the Rocky Mountain West, here in the Captain Jack cockpit. By the way, I want to really encourage you guys, check out Captain Canada on YouTube. He actually has a live stream going on right now as well. And man, he just does a fantastic job. He's a real pro at this and has been doing it evidently for a lot of years. I really enjoy watching him. And there's a few others too that I love getting to see on occasion. All right, let's see. Scott says the Aerosoft CRJ is a nice aircraft. It's a 700 variant. Okay, I wonder if they make one of those for Flight Simulator. Okay, we've come back to our cruise speed of 247. Don't really think with this passenger load, and the winds are off of our left nose at 79 miles an hour. So we're on a heading right now. Let's check our heading real quick here. Man, we've got just a heck of a headwind. So our heading right now is on about 300, 300. And we've got if you look on the MFD as I'm moving this, we've got a wind now coming from 229er. So about right there. So we're fighting a little bit of a headwind. Okay, Scott, in the marketplace from Airsoft directly. Okay, I will look that one up because I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. And eventually, I'm going to get around to spending the $79 on the 737-800. I really want the 800 software from PMDG. So this is where the flight attendants would be coming by offering you something to drink. And I believe on United, I believe you can get water, but I think you have to pay for everything else. I can't remember. Carl, you'd have to let me know that if you ever watch the replay of the stream. A couple of little cockpit details we can clean up. Let's go ahead and lock the landing gear, which I should have done quite some time ago. However, believe it or not, that is not on my checklist. I got to follow. I found a better checklist, a more concise and actually I shouldn't say concise, a little bit more detailed checklist here. Okay, Scott says almost steady level has an EFB. Yeah, I can't wait for them to get the EFB out for the PMDG, and I think it's on its way. All right, guys, I'm going to let you watch the airplane here for just a minute. I'm going to go get something to drink. Because I'm getting a little dried out. All right, we'll set you up with the view, and I will be right back. Everybody, I am back with the autopilot to take control of the airplane there for just a couple of minutes, and I was able to go get something to drink. You get all dried out. All right, well, I hope you're having a good time tonight. Hope you're okay. Scott, you can watch the controls. Next time, I'll tell you what we'll do. Next time I have to run off for a break like that or something, we'll put you over here on the FO side. Although honestly, you should be the captain. Scott actually has years of real piloting experience, so I'm almost almost a little, got some trepidation. Okay, I have the airplane back. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, my controls. Almost have a little trepidation when a real pilot, I know a real pilot is watching. So yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Once again, welcome to the flight tonight. We're on the way to Jackson. We are on time, at least as far as the travel goes. We left about 15 minutes late, so we were delayed about 15 minutes. And I'll make sure to edit that out of the front of the video for the replay. Okay, Graham says, don't let me loose on it. I'm still struggling with landings. You know, Graham, watch a lot of YouTube videos on guys showing you how to do it, and especially for the particular airplane. It's all about speed and attitude, really, and I'm sure Scott can give us some good pointers there too. But it's all about speed and attitude, and follow that checklist. Follow your checklist, man. It'll make all the difference in the world. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this is so much fun. I think I love flight simming, and I do it by myself quite often. And I'll tell you, when I had my rotator cuff injury here earlier this summer, I was really not happy. Really not happy at all, because this is one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. With the power of the computing that we have these days, you know, you can actually do this kind of thing and at least learn some of the basics and some of the other things that go along with it. It really is just extraordinary. Okay, I want to look down at my FMC here just a few minutes and take a look at what's going on there. Everything is looking good. Top of descent is 123 miles away. We will get to top of descent here, it looks like, at 2 minutes past the hour. So in about 17 minutes, we're going to hit top of descent. And one of the things that we can go ahead and start doing too is bringing up some of our information on runway 19er. So one of the things that we can do to start with is we're going to set our ILS approach frequencies. So let's set that. It is 109.1. 109.1. You don't necessarily have to enter that in right now. We'll do that on the nav1 radio. Then we'll go to the right-hand side. And we're going to go to 109.1. Okay, and both of those are set at the moment. Graham, so did you download, and are you using a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, or did you download 2024? This sim is running on 2020. And what airplane do you like to fly? I'd love to see that in your chat comments there. What airplane do you like to fly at this point? What are you learning on? Are you learning on a Cessna 172, or maybe one of the other general aviation aircraft? What are you using there, Graham? I'd love to see what you're doing, or hear see what you're doing in the chat window. That would be good. PMDG has made a wonderful product with their 737, and they also have some other airliners out. Okay, Scott, you say you see the MEL sticker? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, Graham says 2020. I only got it a week ago. Good. Let's see, Scott, is that what you're... Qualified for extended over water operations. Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good. I'm not sure what the MEL sticker is. Scott, you're going to teach me something new here. Yeah, you'll have to let me know, because I'm not sure what I'm looking for. We go back to the PFD for just a moment. Okay, progress looks good. We'll be landing at 26 after the hour. So we're about a half hour or so away. Yeah, Graham, good deal, good deal. Glad you're having fun with it. So you say the Cessna. Very good, very good. That's a great aircraft to learn on. Remember that Cessna is going to land, its landing speed is what, right around 70 knots or so? So it's important to keep that nose attitude and your airspeed right, and to maybe engage your flaps, you know, at the particular times. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that will show you how to land that 172 very well. Okay, Scott says lower pedestal, yellow sticker. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh, okay, I see. This is what you're referring to here. In-op CT log, that's for a deferred item on the aircraft that is not functional. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, I'm not even, okay, that's weather radar. Oh, doggone. I thought this thing did have operational weather radar on it when you come up here on the MCP and press weather. Okay. I do have all the traffic and everything turned off in the sim. It gives me some better frame rates, I've noticed. As a matter of fact, it does a lot for the frame rate. Okay, we're at about the halfway point in the flight. Little nav map is telling me. Let's get some views of south central Wyoming from 38,000 feet. Okay, Scott, that makes sense. It allows airlines to operate certain airplanes with certain equipment that may not be working. Okay, got that. Download the audio panel controls. Okay. Very good. Not yet on the PMDG 737. Okay, well, that'll be great when it is. I really thought that you'd be able to see some of that at this point. I wonder if they have them operational in the 800 variant. So I'll tell you, I had some of the other traffic turned on when I was doing a flight previously, and it was really strange. I was in the aircraft like this, and another airplane came up and sat right off my nose. I mean, just right there. You could read the logo and everything on the aircraft, and the guy was, you know, we're making that right-hand turn now. The guy, you know, there was obviously somebody in the simulator who was trying to do some goofy stuff. I'm sitting here doing a proper cruise, and that guy got right in front of me and looked like he was tilting his wings one way and tilting his wings the other and doing some crazy stuff, and then he took off to the left and flew away. All right. Okay, let's check our flight parameters again. $82 miles to top of descent in about 14 minutes. Well, wait a minute, let me recheck that. I gotta make sure to look at the right clock there, don't I? Top of descent is at 23:03 and 22:52. All right, so yeah, about 11 minutes away from top of descent. We'll get ready to reset our altitude and our MCP when it's time. Okay, Scott, not operational in any variant yet, only on the PMDG aircraft. Okay, okay, very good. I will look forward to that when they do make that operational. You know, Scott, when you were a commercial pilot, you must have thought from time to time, looking out these windows like this, what an office, what an office. By the way, this is, no, that was cool. Come back here. I'm looking at something here on my tablet. Okay, so we just passed, oh, that's Interstate 80. Okay, very good. I don't know if you guys can resolve this, but That's Interstate 80 running right along there and right along there, west of Rawlins, Wyoming. That's Interstate 80, where I'm moving the mouse back and forth, if you can see that, if you can resolve that in your screen. Yeah, Scott, I've got the well, I don't have the multiplayer off. Actually, I do have the multiplayer on because my buddy Jeremy back in California and I fly together on Sunday. You know, we're going to have to invite you on one of those flights. We'll fly a GA aircraft somewhere around the country, and I would love to have you join us one day on that. But yeah, you can still have live traffic without the multiplayer on it. That'll fix the issue. Okay, that's good to know because I can turn that on and off. But yeah, I do have the multiplayer turned on because Jeremy and I use it a lot. I tell you what, though, during football season, I haven't been flying that much on Sunday afternoons because I'm watching the Broncos or the Chiefs, and this weekend it'll be the Broncos and the Chiefs. Chiefs are coming to town. Yeah, you too. Okay. Very good. All right, guys. We're getting on towards our top of descent. Just looking back here at another computer. Yeah, best view in the world, Scott? No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, it's, you know, I follow several guys on Instagram that, you know, they talk about it being the best office in the world, and, you know, they'll say good morning and good night, aviators, from the pictures that they'll post on Instagram, and I look at those quite frequently. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Man, I tell you what, these areas out here, they're just so desolate sometimes. Not a lot of population in Wyoming to start with, but man, oh man, it's a lot of empty and open territory. I actually have ridden my motorcycle through here. We're a little west of where I rode my motorcycle, but rode from up in northwest Wyoming and down kind of through Cody and on down to Thermopolis and Riverton. And man, you just be out there in the middle of nowhere for hours. It's you know, not see anybody on the highway. It's almost like, why do they build a highway way out here? Okay, we're going to be coming up on I was trying to read the name of the mountain range. Can't quite make that out on my map here. Yeah, let's see. You've got areas that we're flying over right now called the Pogo Again Wilderness. Popo Ag Wilderness. The Honeycomb Buttes Wilderness Study Area is just off of our left wing. Yeah, that's a lot of wilderness. Holy smokes. Let's see, that looks like a town there. Yeah, that's Riverton. Okay, that's Riverton, Wyoming. And, you know, like I said in one of the other streams, I wish pilots would tell you more about the geography you're flying over. I would find that interesting. It's like you almost want a pilot's channel in a set of headphones that you could wear to where they would talk to you. Well, Scott, you know, we've got some clouds. It looks like we're going to have to fly through here. Still should be able to see the Tetons, though. I actually got a text from my guys at work here, the Network Operations Center, so I need to respond to them for just a moment. I'll let you enjoy the view. Okay, one thing I'm noticing as well as we get back up onto the flight deck here is we do have that 84 knot wind at 241. There's our top of descent, less than 40 miles away. So here in just a moment, we're going to go ahead and reduce our altitude so that when we hit that top of descent point, the 737 will go ahead and start following the descent profile. Oh, that's interesting. It says here that there's an automated weather service right below us nearly at 118.35. I'm going to see if I can pick that up. I wonder if it will actually come in. 118.35, dialing that up on the radio here. Not seeing it. Okay, I got to keep an eye on that top of descent. Yeah, okay, I'm not seeing that listed there. Okay, we're not going to worry about that right now. We're not really using radio, as it were, because we don't really have any air traffic control going on. Scott says looks promising. Yeah, he wants the bad weather. I mean, I could occlude it and make the weather awful, but let's not. Let's go ahead. We've got some clouds that we're going to have to look like we'll deal with here. Okay, top of descent is less than 20 miles away. We're going to get ready to reduce our altitude. And we'll look once again here in just a moment in the descent at what our weather and everything is at Jackson. And we've already done a couple of these things here. We're going to switch our minimums to Barrow, and we'll we'll set our minimums here just momentarily. Okay, top of descent is about 13 miles out, and we can go ahead and reduce our altitude so that when we hit that top of descent point, the aircraft will start descending. Now, air traffic control would probably clear us down to an altitude somewhere around 25 to 27,000 feet, but we're going to go ahead and take ourselves down here because we're not really using ATC. Our approach entry point is at 8,000 feet. So we'll set our altitude for the moment to 8,000 feet. And actually, one thing I like to do, and Scott, you could comment on this. I like to set that altitude to about 500 feet or so lower than where the autopilot entry point is, because that way, if I forget, right at the point. It'll go ahead and hold it. Okay, as you can see, top of descent is 5 miles away. We'll expand our view to the 5-mile point. You can see that top of descent marker start coming up on us. And we're getting over some snowy mountains there. Okay, we're going to watch for the top of descent point to hit, and then we'll see our descent profile window come up on the right-hand side here of the MFD. So we'll keep watching for these events. Top of descent, almost there. All right, and we crossed the top of descent. Our descent window has popped up in the FMC. And right now, we're waiting for that descent profile to stabilize. Yeah, this is the thing that I can't get the Embraer 190 to do. I can't get the 190 to do that. Graham says send some of the rubbish weather over free of charge. Well, you know, honestly, Graham, we had a lot of that in Denver today. I was really surprised at how just foggy and overcast it was just the whole day here in Denver. But you go up in the mountains, and it's beautiful blue sunshine skies. But down here in Denver, it's pretty socked in. The ceiling is still pretty low. All right, descent profile is looking pretty good. Hey, once again, guys, if you could comment on my audio. How does the audio sound? It should sound cleaner than it ever has before because, like I said, I put that new processor in line. Yeah, Graham, winter arriving fast. Oh boy, I tell you, for sure. And I've never been much of a winter fan, to be honest with you. All right, let's set a couple of things here as we start going in. Our approach course is 187. So I'm setting that up on not only here, but I can see it on my display. Graham, thanks. Sounds great, he says. Okay, very good. I appreciate that. All right, let's go to 187 on the First Officer's course selector. I tell you what, just crazy when I think about all that a real flight crew has to do and talking on the radio and everything that they're monitoring. You know, trying to do this as a single pilot, man, a little hairy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set our auto brake to 3 because when we get into Jackson, I just learned something new about my Simbox software there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Graham says, yeah, no surprise they need co-pilots. Yeah, no kidding. For real. All right, our approach course and heading are set. And we'll continue to watch the descent profile. As we descend, get some more views of these mountains And yeah, they're even rendering the snow, and this is what it looks like up there now. It's pretty fantastic. They've had some snow up in western and northwestern Wyoming. Pretty extraordinary. And the sounds of this aircraft, I just can't get over how good and accurate they are. Go ahead and turn the sounds up a little bit, let you guys hear this. All right, back up on the flight deck. We're coming through 30,000 feet. Descent profile is looking good. We're descending at about 1,500 feet per minute. We're a little bit under or above the descent profile there, but the aircraft should right itself here shortly. If not, I can always help it out a little bit. As a matter of fact, I can show you how we do that. So once again, you see the descent profile right here. It's showing us about, well, this is okay, 60, 64, 60 feet, and it's dropping. So I'm going to let it go ahead and drop 54, 50. That could be just due to some of the winds, because we do have a 59 knot wind just right off our left nose. So that's all right. We don't really need to change anything for now. We'll continue on this profile and let the airplane take herself down. Man, look at those mountains. That's what it looks like. So Jackson is going to be off over in here. So Scott, we're going to get to descend through some clouds, so that'll be good. All right, let's see what our altimeter value is going to be. And let's go ahead and set that up. So again, the latest weather METAR says our altimeter will be at 3013. Okay, so we've set that at 18,000 feet. We'll change over to that. Winds are 6 knots. From a heading of 200, so we're going to be landing on runway 19er, which is at approximately, well, here, I'll tell you exactly what it is. Stand by. Well, actually, we've already set that. It's 187. So this is actually a favorable wind for landing on runway 19er. All right. We're within 30 feet of the descent profile. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set up our approach ref. So we're going to have about 500 gallons of fuel less at that point. So we'll come back over to our reference. We'll subtract 0.5 from 131.7. That'll give us 131.2. And we'll set that as the gross weight. And we're going to go ahead and give ourselves flaps 40 for our approach reference, because this is a fairly short runway at 6,400 feet. And we're going to give ourselves full braking. Okay. We are set for that. Oh, and one thing I really want to remember to do is to set our recording for our landing so we can get landing playback. So don't y'all let me forget to do that. All right, everything is looking good at our next waypoint, which should be Delta November Whiskey. We should be at 244 knots. We're actually a little under that right now. It's all right. I'm going to arm our spoilers, our speed brakes. And so I've just armed the speed brakes. Okay, they are armed. Hey, those of you who might have just joined in, welcome to the flight tonight from Denver to Jackson, Wyoming. We're coming through 21,500 feet on our descent into Jackson. We're probably about 10 minutes away or so from landing. And we're 25 miles away from Delta November Whiskey. Jackson is going to be off our left nose under those clouds right now. How'd you guys like landing in Las Vegas last week? Was that fun? Did the lights impress you as much as they impressed me? I think, like I said, next week we'll go from LAX to San Francisco. And get some of those views in. That would be a fun flight. Sometime we're going to go back out to the East Coast. I try to keep my flights at about an hour or so. You know, some flights, of course, could be considerably longer, but I think an hour is pretty decent. What do you think? Let me know in the chat window. Yeah, Graham, thanks. I thought it was pretty spectacular, too. All right, we're continuing on here. I'm going to go ahead and expand that view out just a little bit. Okay, and you can see here in the MFD that once we hit Delta November Whiskey, we'll make a left turn. And then with WOMRU, W-O-M-R-U, we'll make a left turn into the runway on our final descent approach. Okay, we're coming through 18,500 feet. And we're going to set up our standard, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that. That will put us a little bit above the descent profile, but that's all right. The airplane will catch back up with it pretty quickly. And let's see if we could see it. Jackson's going to be off under this cloud over there. So Scott, we may get a decent landing through some weather there. All right, our minimums for this runway is 200 feet, which is fairly standard. So we'll go ahead and set our 200-foot barometric minimum, which we've just set up on the PFD there. That will also give us our voice warnings as we're coming in. All right. Our descent is complete, our checklist. When we hit 10,000 feet, we'll go ahead and throw on the landing lights. I always just go ahead and turn on the taxi lights to make the airplane bright. Speed is 244 knots, as you can see on the PFD. Profile is looking good, but I tell you what, guys, that's a 10,000 foot mountain right there that we're flying over. Yeah, we're going to make a left-hand turn up here at DNW. We're going to take off through this valley off to the left there. And as you look out there to the left, man, we're getting down in amongst those mountains. And that's the way this approach into Jackson works. I got to figure that, Scott, you were telling me that you have to have some special ratings to be able to land at this airport in the real world, correct? I definitely see why. This is about the fourth time now that I've shot this approach, and definitely is a little hairy. All right, we're making that left-hand turn. All right, things are going to start happening pretty quick here. I'm going to start watching my speed. So at Wamru, we need to be at 168 knots. Yeah, we're going to fly right up this valley and then cut to the left, which will put us on our final approach. Okay, I'm going to check our barometric pressure one more time. Okay, 3013, that is set. And we'll go ahead and turn on our landing lights and taxi lights too, why not? Just make the airplane pretty. We're a little high, but turn those lights on. Yep, the airport's going to be right over here, so Scott, you're definitely going to get your IFR approach here. Okay, so we should hit Wamru at or about 8,700 feet. Okay, descent profile is still looking good. That's good. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of me here and let you guys watch the approach from the flight deck here. Our ground speed is 223 knots. and the ground speed is lowering. We're 5 miles out from Wamru, where we should be at 8,700 feet and 168 knots. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a 2-notch of flaps here. And we're going to watch the speed start coming down. Okay, 2 notches. Yep, 2 notches of flaps at Wamru. Let's bring the sounds up a little bit. At Yazgu, we should be at 138 and on final approach. So I'm watching my speed over in the PFD, and I'm going to give us a little drag to get us to the speed that I want to be at. Okay, that looks good. And so I don't forget, I'm going to start record. Record is started. And we're going to arm the approach. Approach is armed. We're a little below the glide path, but that's all right. We're coming around just fine. All right, and we are on the approach. I'm going to turn on the backup system there. Man, I think I see a runway light ahead. So we can continue, but everything is looking good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring us down to flaps 15. And we're going to add a little drag back in. And I'm going to lower the landing gear. Landing gear on its way down. That'll help with our drag a little bit. Okay, so far I am not seeing the runway. I know where it is out there. Yeah, Scott, looks murky. Real murky. I'm going to hit Command B because this may be one of those that we have to let the airplane almost auto land itself. I think I see runway lights. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go flaps 40. And it's going to scream at me, that's for sure.
1,000.
Okay, runway lights are in sight. We're on the localizer and the glide path. Speed is coming down nicely where it should be. All right, I have the throttle.
500.
Okay, so we're going to be good in minimums. That's good. Okay, I want to take.
300.
Okay, I have the aircraft. I am landing.
200.
Okay, that headwind, we've got nearly just a right on the nose headwind.
100.
Okay, over the threshold. Throttle back.
40.
Into the runway, nose up.
20. 10.
Keep that nose up, thrusters on, reverse thrusters. Nose down. All right, guys, welcome to Jackson. I think that was a good landing. And 80 knots, reversers stowed. And I'm going to take the brakes. And we're going to roll down to the exit taxiway. All right. That was just gorgeous. That was one of my better landings ever. I'm just thrilled with that. Scott says Cat 3 certification Autoland. Yeah. Yeah, it helps. I took it from 500 feet, though. I'm happy with that. And look at that. It's snowing here in Jackson. All right. Landing lights off. Speed brakes and flaps are stowed. All right, guys. That was just absolutely wonderful. I've got to get one of those landing rating pieces of software. Okay, we're going to go on down to the terminal. We're going to park the airplane. These folks are going to have to get off the aircraft in the snow. I need to go ahead and turn on the APU. APU is on, and the APU bleed is on. I do not see a cross here, so we're going to go ahead and pull in. Yeah, there we go. We'll just come right over here. Okay, taxi lights off since we're right in front of the terminal. I love how they're rendering that snow. That is just really cool. Okay, I want to turn the nose straight in. Not really sure where the markings are at this airport. Okay, there we go. Parking brake is on. Okay, flaps are stowed. Speed brake retract. Transponder required. Position lights are all good. Taxi lights and landing lights are off. APU is started. Glad we had the anti-ice and probe heats on, engine start switches, and auto brake off. Okay, we're going to wait on just a second and make sure the auxiliary power unit is up and running so we can change to the APU gens. All right, those are over. And we can turn off the fuel. We can turn on the anti-ice is off. Probe heat off. Window heats off. And we'll shut down the engines. All right, let's call here. They do not have a jetway. We're going to put the chocks on. Set the chocks. Okay, that request ground power. You have to change to stairs, and we'll call for the stairs once the engines are shut down and begin deboarding passengers. All right, guys, there we are. How about that? We made it to Jackson. We had one of the best landings ever. We're not quite on the lineup line there for the aircraft, but that's all right. I wonder if these engines are going to stop, because I had such a hard time getting them to stop in Denver. Fuel cutoff is there. Okay, they're in the off position. Okay. Okay, now we can request the stairs. Good. They are arriving. And once we see them arrive, then we'll go for the playback. Okay, there come the stairs. All right, let's see if we can make the playback work tonight. Okay, we're going to load the panel for final and execute. All right, and now you should be able to see the replay. Okay, here we go. Let's watch the replay. Holding that 3-degree nose pitch up. And I am hand flying the airplane at this point. A little longer on the landing than I might have wanted to be, but look at that. Look at that. There you go. There's your butter landing, folks, finally on the Captain Jack stream. All right. I am so super happy with that. Let's go back and get a passenger view. And it's showing the speed brakes up. Now, the speed brakes were not up at this point. Okay, here we go. Look at that, look at that. All right, I am so super happy with that. Let's go ahead and bring it back. And we'll hit replay again. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's showing the speed brakes up there. Coming in. And there we go. We're setting down. Speed had bled off just real nicely. We touched down at about 120 knots. There's the reversers coming on. All right, there we go. All right, guys, I want to thank you for being here tonight. Can't appreciate you enough for being part of the flight sim and joining me on a Thursday evening here. We will get the recording on and get that all set. And just want to thank you again. I'll look for you next week. We'll look at the landing here a couple of more times, and then I'll shut the sim down and call the stream good night. So God bless you. Good night. If you'd like to be on my email list for the stream, please send me an email, KE0VH@outlook.com. All right, take care. God bless you. See you next Thursday when we'll fly LAX to SFO, Los Angeles to San Francisco. Good night, guys. Take care. God bless you.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Terrain. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
And once again, we're getting a little oddball stuff up here on the flight deck as far as that goes. Anyway, we'll watch landing here and talk to you later. Take care. God bless. Good night.
Too low. Terrain. 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 Too low. Terrain.